Good afternoon, everyone. Let me thank you all so much for being with us today. This is certainly an unprecedented moment in our state as well as our nation. A global pandemic has threatened the health and well-being of communities all across the state. The economic impact of this terrible virus has shuttered businesses, impacting families in every corner of this great state. We took measured steps forward and found a balance, protecting the lives and livelihoods of all Georgians. But as we secured our footing and started building momentum, we witnessed a horrific, hate-filled act of violence. We saw injustice with our own eyes. Georgians protested to demand action, and state lawmakers, many who are gathered here today, rose to the occasion. In these challenging times, under this gold dome, there are plenty of disagreements and division. But today, we stand together as Republicans and Democrats, black and white, male and female, from rural, urban, and suburban communities, to affirm a simple but powerful motto: Georgia is a state too great to hate. House Bill 426, sponsored by Representative Chuck F. Strachan, does not fix every problem or right every wrong, but this bipartisan legislation is a powerful step forward. It's a sign of progress, and it's a milestone worth applauding. House Bill 426 is a tool to enhance public safety and ensure that justice is served. Frankly, it's the silver lining in these difficult times and stormy days. Today, as we sign this bill into law, we also reaffirm our desire to put progress ahead of politics. We must do our part to ensure that our state is a place where all people, no matter their skin color, can live, work, and prosper. We must fight for fairness and work to secure a brighter and better future for all Georgians. We must do the right thing when no one is watching. I want to thank House Speaker David Ralston and Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan for working in tandem to swiftly pass this legislation. I'm grateful for Representative F. Strachan and Senator Bill Cowser for their diligence and passion. And I truly appreciate all that gathered here. And I want to thank you for your service to our state and to all those Georgians that you represent. It is now my honor to turn the podium over to a great friend and someone who has worked very hard on this issue with all the others, Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan. Governor.
Thank you, Governor, very much. It is such an honor to be here today with yourself and so many of our colleagues here today. As we started this journey out, we were one of only 4 states that did not have a hate crimes law on the books. That was tough for me to explain, as many of you have heard, to my 3 kids, as we, like millions of other families around the country, watched tragic event after tragic event unfold. I didn't have a good answer. And each night I came home during this process of working House Bill 426 to the point where we're at today, my kids all wanted to know what we did today to get one step closer. I'm proud to have had the help of so many here today to be able to allow us to get to this spot. Passing a bipartisan compromise on HB 426 is definitely the proudest moment I have in elected office. Knowing the amount of work that was put in from both parties, from the House, from the Senate, from rural representatives and senators, from urban and metro, from folks from the North and the South. We all worked together to get us here today. There are so many people to thank, certainly the legislators here with us. Senator Harold Jones, I want to personally thank you for continuing to work and work and work. I want to thank Senator Bill Cowser, and I'll never forget that first conversation we had. I want to thank Minority Leader Steve Henson and his willingness to continue to engage in conversation, even on some of the days where it just felt like we weren't making progress. I want to thank my entire staff, including my attorney, Regina Quick, for continuing to look for opportunities to make improvements. I want to thank the House of Representatives. I want to thank David Ralston, the Speaker, and Chuck Efstration for bringing this legislation initially forward, and for so many that worked hard to get a very good bill across to the Senate. This bipartisan process has reinforced the absolute value of bipartisan cooperation to solve important problems. I will never forget the life lesson of bipartisan teamwork as long as I serve as this state's Lieutenant Governor. It's my honor to bring forward Speaker David Ralston, and once again, I want to thank you for your efforts as we navigated this process, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Duncan and Governor Kemp, and good afternoon to everyone that's here today. A great day for Georgia. Thank you, Governor Kemp, for hosting us today. I have often said that Georgia cannot be great unless it is also good. Today, we sign a measure into law that keeps Georgia good. In 2017, when we dedicated the statue of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. outside this Capitol, I said it was fitting that his statue faces the east. That statue will see the dawn of every new day in Georgia. That statue will stand watch as we strive for the righteousness that each and every citizen deserves, no matter their race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. On this historic day, we inch forward along the arc of the moral universe, which Dr. King recognized was long but bends towards justice. Justice that is needed when it comes to horrific moments like the barbaric slaying of Ahmaud Arbery. Nothing we can say will alleviate the suffering of his mother, Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones, but we can send the message that Georgia is better than what we saw on that awful, sickening, disgusting video. We in Georgia are better than that. I am sad that Ahmaud's mother could not be with us today. I know she had expressed a couple of days ago her desire to be here to see this bill signed, but I hope she takes some comfort in the fact that this General Assembly has responded to her loss in this way. This is a defining moment in Georgia's history as Governor Kemp signs into law Georgia's new anti-hate crimes law, House Bill 426. Arriving at this moment was a team effort, and I want to thank all those business leaders, former elected officials, and community groups that joined us on this journey. I also want to express my appreciation to Lieutenant Governor Duncan and our colleagues in the Senate who joined us in this effort. And I want to thank Governor Kemp, who supported and encouraged this good work. Ultimately, we are here because of the work of two truly great leaders. The Dean of our House of Representatives, Representative Calvin Smyre, and the Chairman of the Judiciary Non-Civil Committee in the House, Chairman Chuck Efstration, the sponsor of House Bill 426. I cannot say enough about the good work they did, working across the aisle to ensure that we all took this important step together in a bipartisan way. May God bless each and every Georgian, and may he continue to bless our great state and nation. It is now a real privilege and honor for me to introduce a friend and colleague, a leader of exceptional courage and strong leadership, Representative Chuck Efstration.
Friends, I could not be more honored to be before you here today on what is truly a historic moment in our state. A bipartisan measure brought forward with Republican and Democrats showing unity to make clear, as the governor said, Georgia is too great to hate. House Bill 426 addressed an issue which had been outstanding in our state for some time. Since 2004 and the Georgia Supreme Court's opinion, there was an existing gap in our law. The inability to call particularly heinous crimes appropriately is a loss to all Georgians. And specific offenses may now be classified properly. Offenses that are based upon bigotry, racism, and hate can be called that under the law, and punishments can be given appropriately. Reaching passage of this bill was not an easy task. It took 2 years and the bipartisan support of far too many individuals to name, but many of whom are here and are standing on the stairs here today. I want to begin by thanking all of my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats, who supported this legislation. I also want to thank so many of the advocates who worked tirelessly to speak with legislators, to appear at committee hearings, and to advance this issue, specifically ADL, NAACP of Georgia, Georgia Equality, Metro Atlanta Chamber, and the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, and far too many other organizations to name for you here today. But I am truly grateful and appreciative for the time and dedication given. I want to thank my co-sponsors on the legislation, specifically Dean Calvin Smyrie, an incredible friend and co-sponsor to work on this legislation with, as well as Chairwoman Karen Bennett, Chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, and all co-sponsors. I want to thank the Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives, David Ralston, whose commitment to justice and unity for the people of Georgia is without doubt, and without whom passage would not have been possible. I want to thank our Senate colleagues, specifically Senator Cowsert, the sponsor of the legislation in the Senate, and our Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Geoff Duncan, whose commitment to this issue is without doubt, and who was a great partner to work with as we worked through this matter. And finally, I want to thank Governor Kemp for his support of this issue and signing this bill here today. We are truly at an opportunity right now to show that Georgia is too great for hate, and that unity rules the day in Georgia. Abraham Lincoln said, "A house divided cannot stand." We are unified here in Georgia today with the signing of House Bill 426, the Georgia Anti-Hate Crimes Act. Thank you very much. And at this time, it's my great opportunity to introduce my great friend, the Dean of the Georgia House of Representatives, having served 46 years in the General Assembly, Dean Calvin Smyrie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. And to Governor Kemp, thank you, and to Lieutenant Governor Duncan, to Speaker Ralston, to all my friends and the members of the Georgia General Assembly. I'm truly deeply honored to be here today and to be participating in the signing of House Bill 426, the Hate Crime Act of Georgia. What a great day for the state of Georgia, and what a great day in the history of our state. I have stated on many occasions that our state will not and should not ever tolerate hate in any form. In 2000, I had the opportunity to vote for a hate crime bill that was ultimately ruled unconstitutional. But in 2016, in a conversation with former Chairman Wendell Willard and Speaker David Ralston, I revisited the issue of passing another hate crime bill. Speaker Ralston encouraged that I get involved in supporting another bill authored by Chuck Estration. And thank you, Chuck. Chuck and I met, and I decided to become a co-sponsor of the bill, and I want to say publicly, Chairman Estration, you did an outstanding job in shepherding this legislation across the aisle. And I also want to thank those co-signers of the bill. I want to thank, because it was a pleasure working with the co-sponsors, Representative Deborah Silcox, Representative Karen Bennett, the chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, Representative Carla Drenner, and Ron Stevens. And I thank all of them for their support of this historic legislation. I am filled with joy and fulfillment. For on this day, we stand before you as proud Georgians, and I am one that has seen a lot of legislative initiatives in my 46 years. Ahmaud Arbery's death will not be in vain. That's an example of what we are doing here today. Our best regards to his family. With the tenor and climate in which we live in as a state and as a nation, this is a defining moment. This is a defining moment in the history of our great state. And before I leave the podium, I just want to say to all of those that are gathered here today, starting with our speaker, Mr. Speaker, thank you for your leadership. You were unrelenting, and I want to thank you for standing up and for being heard and being verbal, and I appreciate that very, very much. To Lieutenant Governor Duncan, I visited with you in your office, and we had a great conversation. I want to thank you publicly for your leadership in getting us to this point. To Senator Cowsert, thank you. We met in the garage to talk about this bill for 45 minutes, and thank you for that. And Harold Jones, thank you. You've done an exemplary job of shepherding it and helping this legislation get to where it is today. And I just want to thank all of those, and thank you, Governor, for signing it today. This is a defining moment, and this is a great day in the history of our state of Georgia. We will never, ever, ever, ever tolerate hate in our state. God bless y'all. Thank you very much.
Great words, Dean. Appreciate it. I told many people it was somewhat of a God wink when I ran into you in the parking deck last Saturday after session, and we had a great personal conversation. And you helped me see some of the political obstacles you were facing and efforts you had made, and helped guide us on ways to bridge the divide. And let's get here together. Great day for Georgia. We have been on a long journey together. We've come from slavery to Jim Crow laws to integration, still discrimination, still racism, but improving relations at each step along the way. We're truly on a journey together, and we're headed the same direction. And I can't do it justice, but in Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, he mentioned that. And he said he had been to the mountain, and he had seen the other side. And without going into all the specifics, it was certainly a much more harmony than we've seen certainly in recent times here. And he mentioned he wasn't probably going to get there with us, but we were going that direction, and I feel like as Georgians we are headed to the other side of that mountain. And I'm happy to us take this gigantic step on that journey today and encourage all Georgians to continue. Make it clear we do not tolerate hate. We are a tolerant society of all groups, no matter your race, your color, your national origin, your sexual orientation, your religion. We're all in this together, and if we just follow Jesus' commandments to love one another, we'll get to the other side of that mountain. Thank you all for your efforts, and all you gentlemen and members of the General Assembly for being brave enough to pull together and show the values of our state. Thank you. Senator Harold Jones, the Minority Whip, and my friend, come on up.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to be here. And this is just a tremendous outgoing and support. And you hear so many people saying thank you, and you say, why is that? Because this was an amazing lift that has happened through your Georgia General Assembly. Quite frankly, it was just 5 days ago I thought this was over. And then I received a text saying, can you talk? And from that point forward, this General Assembly moved with light speed to make sure that we got to this point. But it all started with the opportunity to actually speak with each other and not to close dialogue. And I want to tell the citizens of Georgia that your General Assembly is going to be better for this, not only because of the greatness of this legislation, but we've learned so much about each other. We've learned now to trust each other. We've learned now to work together more than we ever have before. And this is an amazing day for Georgia. And so I want to also give the thank you to our Lieutenant Governor, because it came through that office where we thought that it stopped. Thank you to the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. Thank you to the House for even starting this process with HB 426. And also thank you to Senator Calvert, because it was just almost 7 days ago that he and I had a rough time in judiciary. But yet, here we are. This is your Georgia. The world now sees what Georgia is, what we've always known it to be. Now the world can see what we always thought Georgia is, the greatest state in the greatest nation. I want to thank everybody for being here and thank everybody who played a part in this. Thank you so much.